Hi folks, I'm Dan Vergano. I'm a Science and Society reporter at USA Today. I cover everything from astronomy to zoology, with some other stuff fit in there in between somehow. I cover a lot of stories about sort of news in science, new studies in science. What I particularly like to cover are stories that sort of illuminate how science affects modern life. That's the particular emphasis I try to pursue. My experience is that scientists actually are overall pretty good about getting back to reporters. The key is you approach them and you actually have a reasonable question. You're an expert on earthquakes. I have a question about the kind of earthquakes you study. Usually the guy is willing to get back to you. It's when you say, I want to ask you a question about comets, and you're an expert on dish soap, the guy blows you off. It's not surprising. Of course, if you are the expert on comets and I have a question about comets, then it turns out I probably do need to talk to you today. And I do need to hear from you today. And what do I mostly need from you? What I mostly need from you is a sanity check. Is this thing I'm calling you about newsworthy? There's a sense you often get among scientists that our job is to educate the public, our job is to teach them, to correct them, that we are, in a sense, educators, teachers. And that's not what we do. What we are doing is just bringing in the news. And teaching lessons cost a heck of a lot more than a newspaper. Teaching lessons are what people pay tuition for. And it's really unreasonable to expect us to be able to correct a lifetime of miseducation in a 300-word story. It just ain't going to happen. So the best we can do is inject an idea into the public sphere. Every once in a while, I run into people who are snobs about USA Today or other sort of not prestige publications, and that's a shame. You're missing out on reaching pretty much the largest print publication in the country that goes out on a weekday, reaching a lot of people all across the country. Those are kids who are reading the paper, who are in high school right now, are making a decision about what they're going to do with their lives, and you're shafting them by not letting them share what you know. So, I mean, think about it. They go to congressional districts from people who are trying to cut science right now, and you're cutting yourself off from making your voice heard to those folks. If you feel like you've been burned by the press, get even. You have a lot of power now. If you have a blog entry, you write even a friend, a guest, and say, this reporter screwed me over, and here's how he did it, yada, yada, yada. There are oodles of people right now on blogs now who will grab a hold of that and publicize it, and your voice will be heard. You're not without resources. You have a lot more friends than you know. And we want to know, if somebody's a bum. We're at least as frustrated as scientists with the way that science ends up being portrayed to the public. On the other hand, something like 80% of the public loves science and thinks it's a good thing. I wish that journalism had such a good reputation. So don't get too discouraged and don't sort of succumb to a kind of naive cynicism about what we're doing. It actually seems to be working pretty well overall in terms of how you guys are perceived.